Welcome to the Epcotian Adventure,
a podcast where we talk about all things Disney, but we're Epcot-centered.
including tips and tricks, festivals and favorites, and the very latest in our rankings and reviews.
But we're still old enough to remember when we always saw the new Disney movie at the drive-in.
This is episode 108, the top Disney animated films by decade.
Or, don't come at us, folks. This was really hard.
So now, please remain seated, keeping your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the podcast as we embark on our Epcotian adventure.
We call it Epcot.
Howdy, folks, and welcome to episode 108 of the Epcotian Adventure. I'm Rod.
And I'm Sue.
And today we're going to take a little tour through the history of Disney animated films.
That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah,
I like that.
We talk about the theme parks all the time. Well, the animated films really do lend themselves towards the theme parks because of all of the animated films that are attractions.
And they funded the theme parks.
They really did. Without Snow White and a few others, there would be no Disneyland or Walt Disney World.
I think people forget that. They really do sort of feed off of each other. And now they're adding more and more IP into the park, so they are even more linked. But we are going to take just a quick trip through the decades, from the very beginning to the current, and we're going to talk about some of our favorite films. This is sort of going to be a quick episode. We know that it's Memorial Day. We want you all to be out with your families, hopefully having some nice grilled tri-tip. That would be ideal. But however you choose to celebrate, and please, if you do know someone who lost their lives as giving service to our country, please take time to honor and remember. That is what the holiday is all about.
That is what Memorial Day is, and it's very sobering to remind ourselves about that. Let's have a happy day.
Yes.
And let's talk about the decades of Disney animated films. Now, at the very beginning, there was some decades that had to be put together because there just wasn't a lot happening in the early years of the studios. So the way we're going to do this is we're going to put the 30s and 40s together, so the 1930s and 1940s.
Because there was only one movie in the 30s. Snow White was released in December of 1937, so...
And 2030 is in, 4 years, so yikes. We put the 50s and 60s together, and then we have the 70s, the 80s, 90 to 94, because that was the golden years for Disney animation.
Y'all, there are so many films coming up here.
Oh, have the Eisner years, yeah. Or the Katzenberg years. I mean, this was when the studios were just cranking out hit after hit after hit.
And we're only talking about animated films for this. We're not even talking live action. We're not talking all of the true adventure films from the early, 50s and 60s. We're not talking about Touchstone films or any of Splash and Black Hole and all. None of those. Animated only, and there's so many.
There's so many good ones too. And then we'll go in 5-year increments up until the future.
Well, current.
Well, yes, but there's so much coming out shortly too. I might have to mention one or two for 25 that aren't out yet.
So how this is going to work, we're going to tell you the years that we're doing. We're going to tell you the films that are eligible for those years. And then we're going to each pick a favorite and a least favorite from those years.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
That sounds right.
Okay.
And we'll I'm just going to say it now. Like Sue said, don't come at us. This is our opinions. And everybody has their own opinion of their favorite and least favorite. So there's no scientific scoring or anything behind this. It's simply our films that hit us in the feels.
We're going to tell you all the films that are eligible. We'd love for you guys to pick them as you go along too. We always want to hear your opinion. So message us or comment or let us know.
All right, so here we go. Let's start with the 30s and 40s. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, Pinocchio, Fantasia, Dumbo, Bambi, and Ichabod and Mr. Toad, The Wind in the Willows. Actually, that was the Many Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad, The Wind in the Willows. It was something, there was a huge name on that one.
That was a long one.
So you created this idea. Let's hear your favorite 1930s, 1940s film.
This was so hard. There is no worst film here. There isn't. They're all classics. For my very favorite, though, I sort of just went with, if I had to put in one of these right now, turn on Disney Plus, these are the only things on there, and I have to watch a film, which one would I pick? And And I actually surprised myself on this one because I went with The Adventures of Ichabod Crane and Mr. Toad.
Believe it or not, that's my favorite as well.
Was it really?
Yeah, I went back and forth with that and Snow White. Snow White is so iconic to the Disney company, and the real reason why there are still Disney animated films to this day.
Absolutely.
Or animated films actually from any company, to be honest.
But Pinocchio is an absolutely gorgeous film. Fantasia is a work of art. It is literal art. It is gorgeous.
But because it's only art and classical music, it became my least favorite.
Was it really?
It was. And I had to choose because, they're all really great films.
There's no loser here. There's no worst film. I went with Bambi because it's so sad.
Yeah, it's hard to watch sometimes more than once.
Yes.
You can't get past the first. It's like Up. You can't go past the first 5 minutes without going, oh, this is going to be horrible.
Yeah, Up actually makes me a little bit angry, but we're not there yet.
Well, okay, all right.
But yeah, I went with Bambi just because it's not one that I would ever choose to put in because I know that I'm going to ugly cry. And not in a good way.
Dumbo is going to be my least favorite because of the song Baby Mine.
But
it's
at
the
least,
same thing. But I can watch that film and at least fast forward through that.
But at least that one it's sweet.
That's true.
It's so
That's
sweet.
true.
You're not crying because the baby's mom just died.
Yeah, turn into venison steaks.
Yeah. Probably delicious venison steaks. But
remember back when Wonders of Life, they used to have that little cafe inside at Epcot, and they served venison chili. That was good.
I went straight to Arroyo Grande, California.
Oh, yeah.
Where they have, that's reindeer.
Oh, yeah.
Is that different?
That's a cousin, I
but
think.
They have a pizza. It's called Roadkill Pizza, and it has reindeer on it. It's a tradition to get it on New Year's Eve. Don't ask.
So
Anyway, moving on.
Shout out to the village of Arroyo Grande.
Right?
Big Hole, California. Okay. Big Ditch, California. All right, let's jump into the 1950s.
Now, this is the 50s and the 60s together.
That's right, the 50s and the 60s. So this is just as our family, as far as siblings, were getting started. So there's a lot of feels with a lot of these films now because these are ones we started to grow up with.
This was really hard to pick a favorite and a least favorite. There is no least favorite in this category. So these ones that are eligible. From the 1950s, we have Cinderella, Alice in Wonderland, Peter Pan, Lady and the Tramp, Sleeping Beauty. From the 1960s, 101 Dalmatians, Sword in the Stone, The Jungle Book. There is no bad film. They are all treasures.
This one was horrific for me because I have like 3 favorite films.
Ditto.
And I finally settled on Alice in Wonderland.
Nice. I was certain that you were going to go with Jungle Book.
Jungle Book still has the F that I had on it next to it. So Jungle Book was my second choice. That's my honorable mention because I absolutely love both those films. But I also adore Lady and the Tramp. And Peter Pan. I can sit down and watch all 4 of those films.
I could watch literally any of these. Any one of them at any time. Alice is a longtime favorite of mine. Cheshire Cat is my favorite character. I love every moment of this film. It is so quotable. Absolutely adore it. But
don't ever say mustard around anybody in our family, or you'll hear this.
Mustard, yes, but mustard? Don't let's be silly.
Yeah, it does happen, even to this day.
Or butter.
Butter!
Butter?
Yeah, that one too.
Yeah. So it's a thing. But ultimately, I went with Cinderella. It's been a go-to film of mine for years and years and years and years. When I was doing the Disneyland college program and was freshly out of the house and needed comfort, living in an apartment for the first time with 2 strangers, this was one of the only VHS types that I had with me. And I put in Cinderella all the time. And for that reason, I went with Cinderella as a favorite.
Least favorite was hard on this one. I actually bounced back and forth between, believe it or not, Sleeping Beauty was actually in my least favorite column. I don't hate the film. I love the film, but it's not one that I'll stop and watch. If it's on or if I sit on Disney Plus, I wouldn't press play to watch it. It's odd enough. But my least favorite, and it's simply because it never just struck a chord with me, and that's Sword in the Stone. It's a beautiful film. I love it. I love the characters. I love Madame Mim. But it's just not a film that I really ever think about.
I love it.
being...
And Archimedes? I love Archimedes. I did go with Sleeping Beauty as my least favorite. And not for any reason. Maleficent is one of the best villains ever. I think it's a gorgeous film art-wise, just animation-wise. It's such a different style, and I love it. But I went the same route, where it's just like, if you gotta press play, that's probably the one that I would least likely press play on.
All right, we're into the 1970s. This is actually one of the shortest groups, and that's Robin Hood, the Aristocats, Rescuers, Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. So there's only 4 films here. So
and again, all bangers.
All bangers. So, Sue, what was your favorite?
As a child, this was the decade I was born. As a child, I have memories, very, very specific memories of each of these films.
At the drive-in.
At the drive-in,
Isn't that
but
funny?
Also the records that we would listen to on the giant stereo unit that was in the room with the orange carpet. And listening to those records where it would go bring and you'd flip the page. And
I remember those.
Like, that was a huge thing. And I have such fond memories. Winnie the Pooh has been a favorite character of mine my whole life. But ultimately, I went with Robin Hood. It
Same
is
here.
one that I will watch any time, any day. Love it.
We are both big Phil Harris fans, and so having Jungle Book in the 60s and then having Robin Hood in the 70s.
Well, Phil Harris was also in Aristocats.
Aristocats, correct. And that's why that's my second favorite in this
But
group.
I'm also a huge Sterling Holloway fan, who was the voice of Winnie the Pooh. And also in Aristocats, he did Roquefort the Mouse. So, like, where do you go with favorites? But
and
ultimately...
in Robin Hood, didn't he do Friar Tuck?
No.
No, rats.
He was a rat in Aristocats.
Oh, that's right. Okay. So, least favorite, I probably can pick this one out, too. And
I don't...
The Rescuers, maybe?
I did Rescuers, but
Yeah.
as a kid, I was literally obsessed with Rescuers.
I loved that film.
I still
absolutely
do. Bob Newhart as a character, Disney character? Are you kidding me? Like, that is brilliant.
All 4 of these films were in the years where I was just a kid, and so I love all 4 of these, and I reluctantly had to pick Rescuers as well for the least favorite. And it's simply because the other 3 are just a step above in my head for the feels that we got for them watching them as a kid.
Yeah. I should also mention, I should have said this at the beginning, but these are like major releases. We didn't include some of the short films, like the collections, like Make Mine Music or Melody Time. We didn't include those. We didn't include Three Caballeros, like some of the smaller releases that were like short collections, because there were a lot of those. So just FYI.
Yeah, feature-length films is what these are.
Yes.
That's a very good point. And in the 80s, some of the best feature-length films from Disney started to come out. This was just before, and one of these is actually kind of the catalyst to the Disney Studios becoming just a juggernaut after this, and that was, of course, Little Mermaid. But we also had Fox and the Hound, Black Cauldron, Great Mouse Detective, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, put an asterisk on that one, of course, and Oliver and Company.
Now, I did include Who Framed Roger Rabbit because the main character is animated.
Well, and so many characters in the film.
Yes, but I went ahead and included that. But I didn't include, like, Mary Poppins, where there is an animated sequence, but the main character isn't animated.
But half of the film really is the animation.
Right.
In that film.
It was a tricky line, but I went ahead and included it in here. So, Rod, what was your favorite film from that list in the 80s? They were, again, all great films.
All great films. I love Great Mouse Detective. I love the music from Little Mermaid and how beautiful it is and what it did for the studios. But of these films, my favorite of all time from the 80s is Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I adore this film. I love the attraction at Disneyland and Tokyo Disneyland. I am a Roger Rabbit fan. And I admit it, I had a crush on Jessica.
Dear Jessica, how do I love thee? Let me count the waves. 1,000, 1,000, 1,000.
That's funny.
So, what was your favorite of these, Sue?
Of these, I have a very specific memory as a child of having to be carried out of the theater during Fox and the Hound because I was sobbing hysterically when she leaves him in the woods and it starts raining.
I remember that.
Hysterical, ugly crying had to be taken out of the theater. That one did not make my top, although I do love it now. But my favorite one, I had to go with The Little Mermaid. that movie was a game changer for the studio. Like you said, it was a game changer in the whole way that they approached animation.
Well, and soundtracks.
And the soundtrack.
The
you could
soundtrack
buy
for
the
that.
soundtrack before the film came out. That was incredible. And it was like its own beast. It was its own thing.
Yeah, prior to that, Why Should I Worry by Billy Joel from Oliver and Company was probably the biggest hit of any film of the 80s from Disney until Mermaid.
Yeah. This was another hard one for me to pick a least favorite because I love all of these. I think I know which one you're going to pick already, but you're wrong.
Oh, yeah?
The one that I went ahead and picked under much duress was The Great Mouse Detective. And it's a fantastic film.
I love that film.
It's so much fun. I love the whole idea of Sherlock Holmes having a mouse living in his apartment. Like, it's brilliant. I love it. But I had to go with that because, again, just which one would you be least likely to press play on?
Mine was The Black Cauldron.
I knew it.
I don't hate the film. Again, it's kind of like Fantasia. It's a great film, but it's just not one that I watch. If it comes on, I just kind of go... You know, I love Gurgi from that film.
Gurgi is the best.
And there was even at Magic Kingdom, Gurgi's Munchies and Crunchies in Fantasyland for years.
Oh, poor miserable Gurgi deserves fierce smackings and whackings on his poor tender head. I was left with no munchings and crunchings.
However, of those films, that had to be at the bottom.
I love Black Cauldron. I think it is highly underrated. Princess Ellen is never included in a princess lineup, ever, ever, ever.
That's a
People
good point.
forget that she
Why?
exists, and she was a literal princess.
Huh, good point.
I love this film. The books were better, but I had literally just read the first 2 books when this movie came out, and so it left a huge impression on me. To go and see it in a movie theater was mind-blowing to my little brain. So I love Black Cauldron, but again, game-changing. It was a PG-rated movie as an animated.
Yeah.
That was unheard of.
I believe that was the first Disney PG-rated animated film.
I think it's the only one.
Oh, no, there's a ton of, like Lilo and Stitch is
Seriously?
PG. Oh, yeah. Most all of the
I
ones
just don't pay attention, I guess.
Most of the ones that come out nowadays are PG just because of the
Well, rules have
themes.
changed, too.
Yeah.
Well, Black Cauldron was scary.
Was PG, yeah.
It was scary. The Cauldron Born,
Yeah.
they weren't messing around. And Horn King, come on. He was scary.
Let's dive into the Disney decade, 1990 to 1994.
That's a half a decade.
That's a half a decade. So what films were in this list?
All right. 1990 to 1994, we have The Rescuers Down Under, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, Nightmare Before Christmas, and Lion King.
This was another tough one, but I think I know where we're both going to go. Well, no, I don't know your favorite. It could be a couple of them. I know it's not going to be Aladdin. And because
I actually love the movie Aladdin, but it just is hard for me to watch.
But after working on the show
Yeah.
at California Adventure for so long.
I'm finally getting over it.
Yeah. She breaks out in hives every time.
Friend like me.
Yeah.
It literally used to keep me up at night, and I'm not even kidding. Like, it would go through my head so much I could not sleep. But I did not choose Aladdin, although I do love the film. I ended up going with Beauty and the Beast as my favorite.
Solid choice.
There were several contenders here, including Aladdin.
I thought you might have gone Nightmare Before Christmas.
I love that movie as well.
I went with Lion King.
I knew you would.
Lion King to me was one of those films that when I first saw it, I just fell in love with the beauty of the film. From
It
the
is
opening
stunning.
sequence and the opening song all the way through to the end. And some of the Timon and Pumbaa are some of the best characters. And young Simba is one of the cutest baby characters of all time. Yeah, it to me was the beginning of the Disney decade for me. And it really, when I was working at Disneyland, and the Lion King parade was on Main Street.
I loved that parade.
And that parade became the show at Animal Kingdom.
The celebration of the Lion King.
Yeah, those floats actually were the original floats that were in the Lion King show at Animal Kingdom.
I love that.
And have spawned shows now on Broadway, and the big one at Disneyland Paris, which I still can't believe we've been there 3 times and have yet to see it.
Well, the first time it was down.
Second time it was down,
we
too.
didn't get that, but this
Yeah.
last time it was up, and
We had no excuse.
No, we didn't. So
My least favorite, unfortunately, had to be Rescuers Down Under. I love that film. It's gorgeous, but I don't even remember the kid's name. When he's flying on the back of the eagle is one of my favorite Disney animated moments, and it's just gorgeous. But
it is beautiful.
It just doesn't have much in my memory, unfortunately.
Same with me. And I was so excited for this movie when it came out because I was such a fan of the original Rescuers. But ultimately, when you put it up in a lineup with all those other films, it had to go to the bottom. It was just, that's logic.
Let's jump into the beginning of the end of what could have been the beginning of the end for Disney animation, because Pixar is now part of the game. And Pixar, at the time, was just amazing. 1995 to 1999, Pocahontas, Toy Story, the first Pixar film, Hunchback of Notre Dame, Hercules, Mulan, A Bug's Life, Tarzan, Toy Story 2, the first Disney Pixar conglomeration, and one people forget about, Fantasia 2000, which I love. That was an amazing one, especially in the big Dolby stereo sound theaters that started to appear back in the 90s.
That was pretty cool.
All right.
So Rod, what did you choose as your favorite?
This was
a hard one.
This was a hard one. There's a lot of films I absolutely adore from back then, but my favorite of all of those is A Bug's Life.
Really?
I love that film. I love Dave Foley and Flick. We quote the lines from Heimlich every once in a while. You all look like little ants to me. Or every time somebody gets lost or something falls, it's like, I'm lost. I absolutely adore that film. Of these films, I mean, they're all just complete bangers, like you said. My least had to be Fantasia 2000, just for the same reason as Fantasia. It's gorgeous. It's just not hitting me in the feels.
It's hard to pick a movie that doesn't have a storyline.
Yeah, multiple storylines. It was a gorgeous film. I saw it like 3 times.
I almost didn't even include it just because we didn't include other movies that are shorts. And Fantasia 2000 are sort of in that category.
But they're so iconic.
They're so iconic. They had to be in here.
And they are feature length.
Yes,
which does make a big difference. Yeah. So what was your favorite and least favorite?
This was so hard. I almost went with Hunchback of Notre Dame. I think it's a gorgeous film. I love the character work, and I love the music. The music is some of my favorite music. But if we were voting on music, I probably would have picked Tarzan, because that soundtrack is phenomenal.
Oh, Phil Collins.
But ultimately, I went with Mulan.
As your favorite?
As my favorite.
Wow. I didn't see that coming.
I love the story. I love the music.
Reflection
is an incredible song. I'll Make a Man Out of You is incredible.
And Mushu is one of the best animated characters of all time.
All right, that's it. Dishonor. Dishonor on your whole family. Make a note of this. Dishonor on you. Dishonor on your cow.
I love Mushu. He's just a good time. But I ultimately went with the one princess film that, well, I guess Pocahontas is a princess, but I picked Pocahontas as my least favorite film of that.
Pocahontas was on my list too to be in the least favorite column. I love the film. It's, again, pretty. It's a great film. It did a lot for the company as far as merchandise.
I love her singing voice. She's amazing. So some of the music in that is some of my favorite Disney music. I know you don't like it, but I love Just Around the River Bend. One of my favorite Disney songs. Love Colors of the Wind. However, if you're going to, like, Hunchback is one thing because they completely Disneyfied the story. In the end of the book, they find their bones entangled together. Like, it's a dark, dark ending. They did not do that in the Disney film, and thank you for that.
Yeah.
But Pocahontas was a real live living person. They were taking on history, and you can because they did, but you can't Disneyfy history, and they did.
That's the whole problem with what would have been Disney's America theme park in Virginia. And yeah, there's just some things about American history that you just can't put a happy spin on. Yeah.
And how do you approach them? And then like they did with Disney's America, eventually you just decide you don't.
Yeah.
You just don't approach it. You go a different direction. And I kind of think that they should have done that with Pocahontas. Create a fictional Native American person, a princess.
That's
if
true.
you fictionalize it, then you can take whatever creative license you want to. I don't know.
All right, let's
Had some
move
issues
into
there.
the current century. Here we go, 2000 to 2004. Dinosaur. Was that actually a movie?
That was actually
a movie. Okay.
There's a whole attraction based on it
that's
at
right.
Disney's Animal Kingdom.
Weird. Emperor's New Groove, Atlantis, Monsters, Inc., Lilo and Stitch, Treasure Planet, Finding Nemo, Brother Bear, Home on the Range, and The Incredibles.
Another great lineup.
And
this
that's
was
in
hard.
5 years, people.
I know.
That's crazy. That's such a great collection of films.
This was so hard to pick a favorite.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was. I have like 5 favorites in this one.
I have 2 because I have an honorable mention. You're going to know what you already know which 2 I'm gonna pick.
I know what you're picking.
What did I pick? Go ahead and tell me.
Now that I look at this, you picked Lilo and Stitch.
I did pick Lilo and Stitch.
And your honorable mention is Emperor's New Groove.
You are 100% correct. And again, because we quote Emperor's New Groove all the time.
Literally on the daily basis.
Yeah. So let me see if I can pick yours.
My favorite?
Let me see your favorite. Home on the Range. No, that's definitely not. I think your favorite's going to be Atlantis.
That is incorrect.
Oh, okay. What is your favorite?
My favorite was Monsters, Inc.
Okay.
I love the characters. I love the music. That Randy Newman music is so much fun. Again, very underrated. And the ending always makes me cry, but it's such a sweet, sweet ending that it just gets me in the feels every single time.
All right. What was my least favorite?
I will say my honorable mention is definitely Emperor's New Groove
it has to be.
I adore that film. Also love Lilo and Stitch. I also love Finding Nemo. I love Treasure Planet. Treasure Planet is so underrated. Incredibles, come on.
Yeah.
Your least favorite is probably the same as mine. Home on the Range.
No.
Did you go with Dinosaur?
I went with Dinosaur, and one reason only, and it's because I love the title track, Home on the Range.
Which we have talked about before.
We have. I
yes,
actually
that is a good
enjoy
song.
that song. The song was the only thing redeeming about the whole film. Dinosaur, I couldn't even... I remember, I think the character was Aladar or something, or was
I think that's right.
Yeah, some random... anyway, it just should not have been made. It was...
He's the dinosaur that you're looking for in the attraction Dinosaur.
Yep, and nobody knows that.
Nobody knows it. He's out front.
I know Dr. Grant Seeker better than I know the main character from the movie Dinosaur, so I had to go with that one.
It was very forgettable, unfortunately. I loved the idea of Atlantis so much, but I went into that film with such high expectations. I don't think there was any way that they could have met the expectations I had, because I'm fascinated by Atlantis in general, and to have it be a Disney film, and they created a whole language for this film. The expectations were through the roof. That's funny.
All right, let's do the other half of that decade, 05 to 09.
All right.
Sue, what's on that list?
Here we have Chicken Little, Cars, Meet the Robinsons, Ratatouille, WALL-E, Bolt, Up, and The Princess and the Frog.
Okay, I cannot believe Princess and the Frog is in that same decade. That seems like that was such a new film, and it's not. It was back from that same decade.
Isn't that crazy?
As some of the films that...
From 2009.
Some of the... Ratatouille, Meet the Robinsons, Bolt. I know your least favorite on this one. I'm going to start with least favorite on this one.
I don't think you do.
Your least favorite's Up.
I actually went my least favorite as Chicken Little.
Okay, that was mine too.
Up makes me angry. It feels emotionally manipulative to me, which automatically angers me. But I love Doug.
My name is Doug. I have just met you, and I love you.
Well, that's true.
And I love Kevin.
You, get out of here. Go on, beat it.
Yeah, that's true. She's amazing.
She's one of my favorite characters. She doesn't even speak any English lines, and I love her. So because of those two characters, Up did not make my least favorite. I have tried about 6 times, and I'm not even kidding, to watch Chicken Little. And I make it partway, and I end up either falling asleep or just so bored out of my skull that I end up changing it to something else.
I hate to say it, it's not even a good airplane movie. And what I mean by that,
I've tried so many times.
Yeah, if you're flying cross country or even to another, like to Disneyland Paris, you can watch 2 or 3 or 4 films, and this is not one you can watch. You'll get 10 minutes into it and go, maybe there's something on CNN. I don't know.
Seriously.
Yeah.
So what was your favorite?
My favorite was Cars.
Oh, good choice.
I absolutely love that film. I love Mater. I love Lightning McQueen. I love every feel about that film. Every moment of that film.
And the
new
music.
Cars area. Oh, and the music, yes. Oh, my heavens, yes. Life is a Highway from that film. Oh, I love that version. But the Cars area at California Adventure is one of my favorite themed lands of any Disney park.
They nailed it.
I absolutely love it.
It still upsets me that they called it Cars Land. I'm going to try to get over it.
I have a feeling I know what your favorite is, but what is it?
Which one do you think I'm going to say?
Meet the Robinsons.
That is correct.
Yeah, I had a feeling.
Again, such an underrated film. I don't know why it's so underrated, except that it came on the tail end of Cars. That's the only thing I can figure as to why it didn't get more play. But if you have not seen this film, and I'm betting several of you have not, because a lot of people have not seen it, please do yourself a favor and go watch Meet the Robinsons. I adore this film. It's one of my favorites on the entire list. It was a close toss-up, though. I love Princess and the Frog.
Oh, yeah, it's such a great film.
I mean, come on, she's amazing. But ultimately, I went with Meet the Robinsons.
I can't blame you. It's a great film.
So good.
All right, 2010 to 2014.
Buckle up. There's a whole bunch of them.
We're now into the era of the sequels. Walt never wanted sequels. This kind of bothers me a little bit, but
some of them are great.
Some of them are. Some of them aren't. Here we go. Toy Story 3, Tangled, Cars 2, Brave, Wreck-It Ralph, Monsters University, Planes, Frozen, Planes 2, Fire and Rescue, and Big Hero 6.
There's a lot of good ones there.
There's a lot of that's a lot of films, too, to try to sort through, because we're into the time now where we're into our young adult status at that point. So this is going to be a lot of feels with these films. What was your favorite film?
Oh, man. This was a really tough one. I almost went Tangled. I almost went Toy Story 3. Talk about a perfect ending to a trilogy, and I'm going to pretend like it ended right there. But I also love Monsters University. My future husband, Nathan Fillion, is in that one, and that gets a really big shout out for me.
If it weren't for the restraining order, that's just...
It's okay. It expires soon. It's fine.
It's not stalking if you love them, right? Anyway.
Frozen, changed an entire generation of children. How do you not pick that? But ultimately, I went Big Hero 6.
Same here. Big
Did you
Hero
really?
6. My favorite Marvel film of all time, and one of my favorite animated films of all time, and had one of the best soundtrack songs of all time, Immortals by Fall Out Boy.
So good.
Oh, fantastic film. Great characters. Love Baymax.
Tadashi is one of my favorite characters. He doesn't get a lot of airtime because of reasons, but I adore Tadashi. I love Hiro. I love Go-Go and Honey Lemon and the Wasabi, the whole gang.
And Cass.
And Cass. Oh.
And Mochi, the cat.
Even Mochi.
I love that.
Oh my gosh.
I love that stupid little feline.
And Baymax, I mean...
I adore Baymax.
It's such a good movie.
Character.
It is such a good movie. Now, our oldest brother will tell you that he has not seen this movie, and he takes great delight in explaining that he has not seen it because he's not seen Big Hero 1 through 5.
Yeah.
So
love you, Paul, but
Paul,
yeah, you really need to see the film.
You need to appreciate the movie more than the joke and go watch it.
Well, I already know what our least favorite is. I'm pretty sure it's going to be Planes 2, Fire and Rescue.
Yeah, I know we saw it. We actually saw it in the theater.
It never should have been made.
It should not have been made.
Planes was a cute takeoff from Cars. It was actually like a spin-off.
It was fine, but again, did not need to be there.
No, but Planes 2 should have gone straight to Disney Plus, Disney
DVD
Store, Disney DVDs, the Disney Channel. It didn't need to be made. So
it could have been a cartoon based on the movie Planes.
Really, that's what it felt like.
Yeah, should not have been there.
All right, 2015 to 2019. Oh, we're getting close to home now.
Now, this one is going to be its own special category, and we'll explain why in a moment. But these 5 years, I can count. Counting's good.
That's math.
A lot of really good ones again. So here we have Inside Out, Good Dinosaur, Zootopia, Finding Dory, Moana, Cars 3, Coco, Incredibles 2, Ralph Breaks the Internet, Toy Story 4, and Frozen 2. So many good films.
Many films.
And the one that I like the least out of any Disney film ever made ever.
Let's just get that one. The reason that Sue said this is a special category is because this has collectively has our least favorite and favorite films of Disney of all time. Least favorite, The Good Dinosaur. It really should have been just called The Bad Dinosaur.
It should have never been made, period.
Or the dinosaur that just falls off a cliff and goes wah a lot.
I hate flames on the side of my face. Hate this movie.
Best film of all time, Zootopia.
It is
also
our favorite.
And I don't even know how many times we saw it in the theater.
We've debated.
Yeah, I think it was like 16. Sue
I
thought
don't think it was like 11.
10, something. Yeah, it was a lot. And it came out at a really good time for me because I needed...
For both of us.
I needed the theme and the song, Try Everything. And so this is just one of my favorite films of all time.
Became an anthem.
It still is, really.
So what we did...
Zootopia 2's coming out. I can't wait.
We're not talking about that yet.
I love it. Go ahead.
So because our very favorite film and our very least favorite film were in here, we each picked a second category. So, Rod, what was your second favorite?
My second favorite film was Incredibles 2.
Such a good one.
Love that film. Frozen 2 came in real close, and Ralph Breaks the Internet came in real close.
Which is Wreck-It Ralph 2.
Wreck-It Ralph 2. I love all three of those, and again, all three sequels. However, I love Incredibles 2. I love that film a lot. And it became, at the time, the highest grossing animated film of all time.
Which is amazing to me. I love
Frozen
that.
2 quickly took that slot.
Yeah.
And I love Frozen 2 as well.
After that.
Yeah. But yeah, that Incredibles 2. What was yours?
My second favorite went to Frozen 2 as well. It was almost Inside Out. I love Inside Out. I also love Moana. But Frozen 2 took it. I thought Frozen 2 wasn't a sequel. It was an extension of the first film. And I loved the storytelling, loved the music, loved how they took those characters. Everything made sense. I absolutely adored it.
Even the making of that you can see on Disney Plus.
Oh my gosh,
is
I loved
amazing
it so much. If you haven't watched that, go watch it.
So least favorite, this one was not tough for me. This was Cars 3.
Mine too.
Simply because I love Cars so much. I loved Cars 2, but Cars 3 just didn't need to be made. Cars 2 didn't need to be made either, in my opinion. Cars should have stayed with the original and just, that was it.
I almost went with Toy Story 4 because, again, as much as I love the characters, as much as I love the film, Toy Story 3 was the perfect ending to that story, and they did not need to continue it. And we have Toy Story 5 now coming out, so hopefully it's going to do something good, because Toy Story 4 was a bit of a letdown.
I hope so. I hope so. It just feels like I'm seeing a plastic toy shark here, and I'm just hoping we don't jump it. But...
They're all jumping over it.
All right,
last one.
We're into the years post-Panini, because we don't say the P word, because we don't want it to happen again. Don't close the parks. Please don't close the parks again. Okay, 20 to 25. Up until now, there was Onward, Raya and the Last Dragon, Encanto, Lightyear, Strange World, Elemental, Wish, Soul, Turning Red, Luca, Inside Out 2, and Moana 2.
Now, I'm going to put a caveat on this before we even dive in, because there are 4 of these films that I have not seen. Which is just unbelievable to me that I can say there's 4 Disney films out there that I haven't seen. But I have not seen Strange World. I have not seen Soul. I have not seen Luca. And I have not seen Moana 2.
Yeah, we do need to see... I can't believe we haven't seen Moana 2.
I know.
That one, we were excited for it to come out. And
I'm still excited for it to come out.
We're going to have to watch it. Luca and
I really
Soul,
want to see both of those too.
Yeah, those both came out straight to video because they couldn't be in the theaters.
Because of when they came out.
And then Turning Red... my favorite of these, Encanto.
I knew you would say that one.
The feel, the music, the environments, I just thrive on Encanto.
It's such a good film.
Absolutely cannot wait for the new attraction at Animal Kingdom.
Oh my gosh, the whole area.
We're losing nothing in my opinion by closing that area. I mean, Dinosaur, I know some people love it. I'm anxious for Indy to come out. And the Encanto attraction. Even if it was just a walkthrough, it would be amazing. Casita, come on. Oh, I can't wait.
So looking forward to that. And my favorite, I went ahead, this was tough, because Encanto was amazing, and I absolutely love Raya and the Last Dragon. But ultimately, I went with Inside Out 2.
That's such a great film.
It was
so
good.
It really is. Both of the films. I didn't mention Inside Out in the last decade as one of my favorites. Both of those are 2 of my favorite films.
Inside Out 2 was made for grown-ups.
Oh, yeah.
I think if you're an adult there's funny parts for kids, and they'll be able to enjoy it on a different level. But as a grown-up going to see this film, just take Kleenex, be prepared to work through some stuff. It's like cheaper therapy. It's really good. But had to do Inside Out too. It was so good. Actually picking a least favorite film was harder for me. What did you end up going with?
I went with Strange World.
Okay, I haven't seen that one.
I started to watch Strange World, and I got about 30 minutes into it, and just walked away. I understood what was happening. I already knew the twist at the end, which maybe is why
I didn't even know there was a twist at the end.
Well, I won't tell you what it is in case you ever see it, but it was, to me, I hate to say it, it was unwatchable. The story was muddled. The characters were forgettable. There was no good music. I understand what they were trying to do with kind of a 50s sci-fi feel, but to be honest, if they had done something with this, it would have been take it and make it part of Sci-Fi Dine-In Theater.
Oh,
and
interesting.
Just put it in as little clips or something. And anyway, I just found the storyline to be un-Disney. It didn't feel like a Disney film.
Interesting.
Yeah, and to me...
I almost feel that way about Lightyear as well, in that the whole plot, if you haven't seen it, I'm not going to give anything away, but the whole plot is so dark. He gets completely lost in his mission, and it's really almost disturbing to me. There are some cute moments, and it's Buzz Lightyear, but ultimately, I did not pick that one as my least favorite. I actually picked Onward as my least favorite. I wanted to like it. I love the idea of living in this mythical world where unicorns are real and they have a pet dragon and they're ogres and trolls and manticores, like the whole thing. I loved the idea. And then because it's Pixar, we had to go dark, and we have this deceased father who they're trying to bring back, and it hit at a bad time for us.
Yeah.
And I don't think I can forgive it for that.
No, and to be honest, the character of the dad being just the legs,
half a dad, was even worse.
That was just a bad choice.
Did not enjoy.
They should have gone Star Wars with it and made him just a ghost or something. Anything.
Yeah.
But it didn't work for me.
The end of the film was very sweet. Pixar always brings it out in the end, and they turn it around into this sweet moment, and that was very lovely how they turned it around, but getting there was really rough. Also, in this category, shout out to Turning Red, because that film is pure joy.
I love that film, yeah.
And For Town Forever. So those were our favorite films, least favorite films. Rod, you mentioned Zootopia 2 is coming out soon. We are highly looking forward to that.
Well, it's a big anniversary, too, for a film that we didn't mention, which is a Goofy movie. And
yeah, I didn't put that on the list. I didn't know where it fit in.
Exactly.
It wasn't a major release, but
it's so iconic now because of Max and Powerline.
Yes.
And so we wanted to throw that out there, as we love that film. And I know we didn't mention it before, but it definitely is a big honorable mention as one of the best films. One of the best songs from any Disney film. And
just a super cute father-son
definitely.
Film. Love it. So lots of good choices. Of course, Disney movies, iconic for a reason. Did we hit your favorites? Did we diss your favorites? Let us know what you think in the comments.
Before we go, we'd like to give a big thank you to our theme music composer, Jason Patrick Rowan, whose music is licensed through Pond 5. And of course, thank you, Phoenicians.
Thank you, Phoenicians. And don't forget to rate, review, like, share, and subscribe. It really, really does help other people find us. You can find us on social media, on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, and wherever you listen to podcasts.
The Epcotian Adventure is a $1,000 brunch production and a proud gold member of D23. Thanks for joining us today for episode 108 of the Epcotian Adventure. I'm Rod.
And I'm Sue.
And we'll see you at the theater.
Bye.
Thank the Phoenicians.
Say Monsters Inc. and put that in. Monsters Incorporated sounds weird. It's not. Nobody calls it that.